We're good? All right. Peace and blessings, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Appreciate y'all taking the time out once again. And if it's your first time, I hope you hear enough that makes you want to come back. Don't forget, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. So today, what we're getting into is something that is very important. And a lot of people overlook this, and that is accountability. So having accountability, what is that? Because it kind of sounds like responsibility and things like that. And we know the key word in it is ability, which means you are able to do something. So when you're looking at accountability, you should be able to do what you're supposed to do on your own accord. And you have to take account for the actions or lack of actions that you have in whatever it is that you're doing. Why is accountability important? Why are we talking about accountability when we're talking about the Bible? Okay, so when you're talking about Christ, Christ was a leader, right? He was the head. And as a leader, you have a certain responsibility to yourself and to others. And someone, if not yourself, is going to hold you accountable to the things that you were supposed to be able to accomplish, which was a part of your responsibilities. So responsibilities, when you're breaking that down, response and ability, basically you're responding to your ability or you're responding with your ability. So accountability is you taking account for the things that you responded to or didn't respond to. So we're going to get into some scriptures, and hopefully it'll make a whole lot more sense, which I'm pretty sure this is basic, but, we all out here wanting to talk about the Bible, lead people, teach, and all these things. So we got to make sure that we have these things in mind. We're going to start with Matthew 12 and 36. Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. All right. It says, "But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by the words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." So this is Christ talking. So what Jesus is saying is, look, everything that come out of your mouth, you're going to have to give some type of account for. Now, that doesn't mean giving an excuse for why you did it. What this is saying is your actions better line up. You better be able to take accountability for what you said by making it up with your actions. Because every word, every idle word, you're going to have to be responsible for. And then he says, "For by the words thou shalt be justified." So your words will justify you. And by your words you'll be condemned. So to be justified means basically like everything was good. Everything was made okay in your favor. Just like justice or whatever. It worked out the way that it was supposed to. However, when it says, "But by your words you will also be condemned," to condemn or condemnation is when you're being brought down. This is kind of like punishment, basically. So you will be rewarded or justified by your words, or you could be condemned and punished by your words. And these are just words. So imagine what weight your actions are going to hold, because we know words and actions go together. So when we're talking about being accountability, we started off right here with Christ himself telling us this. We're going to continue. Let's get Romans 14 and 11. Romans 14 and 11. All right. It says, "For it is written, as I live, saith the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then every one of us shall give account of himself to God." So listen, you have to not only be accountable to yourself, and have to give an accountability for what you did amongst others. You're going to have to give an account to God. So it has nothing to do with what Brother Rev is saying. Excuse me. This is not something that I just decided we should do. This is something that the Bible is saying, even God is going to say, okay, now let's judge brother or sister, so-and-so, whatever your name is. Let's look at your record. You did this, you didn't do this, you did this, you said this. So you have God looking at your account. And in your account, look at it like a bank account. You put stuff in, you take stuff out, right? Some things you do are automatic, like during deposit. But at the end of the day, you have God reviewing your account, all your transactions. And he said, hey, well, what about this? Well, why didn't you do this? Where is this coming from? Where is this going? Why did you say this? Why didn't you say this? So once again, the first one, we had Jesus saying it. The second one, we have Paul saying it, but he's telling you the same thing. You're going to have to give an account to God. All right, let's get James 3:1. A lot of people, they forget this. They pick up the Bible or even outside of the Bible, whatever it is they're dealing with. And they just go and they teach, they talk, they do all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, they forget. God knows them angels, they be keeping a record of this stuff. God knows he gonna remember stuff that you're gonna be like, hey, I said that, I did that. I don't remember doing that. He does. Let's get James 3:1. All right. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. So we're going to start at verse 2 and kind of recap going backwards. So what he said was, for in many things we offend all. So it's many things that people are offended with, right? But then he says, if any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man. So don't offend people with the word. Don't offend people with your words. But instead, it says, and able also to bridle the whole body. So what that means basically is kind of like, I'll read the next verse, even though it ain't up there, just to show the same thing. It says, behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. So just like they put the thing on the horse and it bridles the horse, and they use it, they pull it one way or the other to control the horse. He's saying you should be able to bridle yourself symbolically now. You ain't gonna go buy something, but you should be able to control yourself in every way that you go, in every way that you turn, so that you don't offend people. Now, the first verse is key. It says, my brethren, be not many masters. What is a master? That's a leader, right? That's the person in charge. So, when it says be not many masters, he's saying, look, don't be so rushed to have so many leaders and get yourself in charge, knowing that we, the masters, the leaders, we shall receive the greater condemnation. Well, condemnation is the judgment, right? That is whenever you are being judged and that punishment comes in. And he's saying the leaders or the masters get the greater of the punishment, the bigger punishment. Why? Because you are accountable for more. You are responsible for more. To whom much is given, much is required. So what he's telling you is, when you put yourself in that seat, when you teaching or you're influencing, you're telling other people what to do, what happens is you're putting yourself in the seat of a master or a teacher. And so when God looks at you, he's going to be a whole lot more strict on you, because you may be the reason that someone else did or didn't do something. So you have to take accountability for what you say. If you teach the wrong thing, which I have done this, you need to contact people if you can and let them know, hey, brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, when I said this, I thought I had it right and I was wrong. It's actually this instead. Don't worry about that anymore, because you are taking accountability. Let's continue. All right, let's get Proverbs 27 and 23. Proverbs, let's say 27 and 23, right? All right. It says, be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds. Y'all see that? So it's telling you to be diligent. So you got to be really paying attention. You have to be on it. You have to know and keep up with what's going on. But that's in regard to what? It said, be diligent to know the state of thy flocks and look well to thy herds. So a flock or a herd is a group that's following the shepherd or the leader or the teacher or the master, or in current day, the bishop or the prophet or the deacon or the pastor. Same thing. And he's saying, if you are going to lead, when you are leading people, there's a difference. You're supposed to be making disciples, right? You're supposed to be turning sheep into shepherds. So whenever people are sheep, they're part of the flock or the herd. And he's saying when you're dealing with the flock or the herd, you need to know what's going on with them. You have to be accountable for those people. Either God put them up under you, or you decided to put them under you. Regardless, once you have assumed that position, you are actually responsible for those people. And this is not just talking about the Bible. This is anything in any type of leadership. When people are actually following you, until they're able to stand beside you and help you lead more people, they are a part of your flock or your herd. Now, why is he saying be diligent to know the state of these people? The reason he's saying that is because you never know what a person is going through. You never know what a person needs. Sometimes it might not be what they need to say to you to get off their chest. They might need to hear something from you. They may need something in which you might not have, but you have to find the means to get it to them because you are in leadership position. You are the shepherd. So if you're not checking up on your flock, you don't know if a sheep is injured or sick or going in the wrong way, then strayed off. So you got to go back and get that sheep and bring it back to the flock or to the herd. So you have to be accountable and responsible and attentive to those that are up under you. Let's continue. 1 Corinthians 4:1. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1. It says, let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. So if you're going to be a steward, which is just the same thing, a master, a leader, a teacher, you're in charge. That means you've been put over something. So if you're going to be a steward or a minister of God, then you have to be faithful. When you are faithful, that means you don't leave and come back. You don't turn your back. You don't change your mind. That means you are holding this spot down continuously. Will you make mistakes? Will you fall sometimes? Of course, you're still human. But your job as a steward is to show the people you're human, not just by falling when you fall, but getting back up and continue to lead. So he said, let a man so account of us. So he's saying when a man see them, they give an account of them, that account they're giving is that they are ministers of Christ. People should be able to look at your fruit and tell what type of tree you are. People should be able to look at your works and tell who you work for. So what he's saying is people should be able to give an account of us and know that we are of the Most High. All right, let's continue. Let's get Revelations 20 and 12. Make sense? Revelations chapter 20, verse 12. All right. It says, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. So we're talking about judgment. You standing before God. Remember, it said you had to give an account to God. Now let's see what he's going to use to measure your life or to judge your life for that account. It says, and the books were open. And another book was open, which was a book of life. So that book of life was open to see if your name was in there. But there were other books that were open, right? It says, and the books were open, and another book was open, which was the book of life. So what was the other books? Those are the books of the law. He's judging you out of the books of the law. So he's making sure he holds you accountable to that. Now, I'm not saying that it's not the whole entire Bible, because I don't know how many or what's involved, but I'm just saying based on what we can read from the scripture, you will be judged out of the book of the law. So when you want to have some accountability for your actions, you need to know what type of actions that you need, right? Or need to have. What should I be doing? What should I not be doing? What should I be eating? What should I not be eating? What should I celebrate? What shouldn't I celebrate? All these things you should be able to figure out by finding the book of the law, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Now, read the whole Bible. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just letting you know, you definitely want to know that your works and actions are going to be judged based off of that. Now, let's continue in that. I started from the top. It says, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. So where can you go in the Bible to find your works, which is things that you can and cannot do? That's the only way you can be judged. You got to be judged right from wrong, right? Where do you find right from wrong? The books of Moses. Let's continue. Let's get Acts 17 and 30. All right. That's Acts chapter 17, verse 30. Y'all bear with me for a quick second. All right. And the times of this ignorance, God winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent. You see that? So he said there was a certain time, obviously, if you read this whole chapter previous to where we started, you'll see more in depth. But it says, in the times of this ignorance, God winked at. So sometimes when it's ignorance in your life from your actions, God winked at. Now, if you wink, your eyes are closed, right? For that split second, he didn't see it. He's acting as if he didn't see it. He's closing your eyes. He's closing his eyes to your ignorance. Wouldn't that be nice? But he says, but now commanded all men everywhere to repent. So after he's seen, okay, you didn't know no better, he's not going to hold you to the full accountability, but he's going to make sure that you learn and tell you, all right, now go repent. Don't do that no more, because the next time you do it, it's going to count against you. Verse 31. It says, because he has appointed a day in thee which he will judge the world in righteousness. By that man whom he has ordained, whereof he has given assurance unto all men, in that he has raised them from the dead. So we're talking about Jesus judging, and that appointed day, it's an appointment to judgment day. So he's saying, at this point, you don't got to worry about being judged. And you're not getting judged today. This is why he said, listen, when you do something ignorant, you do something you don't know no better, repent and fix it before the judgment comes, because when the judgment sits, it's too late then. So he's telling, look, take accountability for your actions now and change. It's okay to say, I'm sorry. It's okay to say, hey, I was wrong. Whether you're talking to a person or whether you're taking it to God. Because when we transgress his laws, statutes, and commandments, we still need to be repentant and having remorse towards him. Father, I messed up. I'm sorry. But ain't no need to say that if you know you're not and you're going to continue. This is why he say repent, which means you got to turn away from it. Let's continue. Let's get Ezekiel 33 and 5. All right, Ezekiel chapter 33. Let's see. Yeah, verse 5. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His, I almost was, am I starting? Yeah, I probably should have started at 4. But it's all right. Even though 5 is up there, y'all got to bear with me. I must have been sleepy. We're going to start at 4. So Ezekiel 33 and 4. It says, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. So if you heard the trumpet alarmed you for war. So you should have been getting ready. Get up, get your shield, get your battle axe, your bow, your sword, and get ready to defend yourself. Or if you can't defend yourself, get up and run, do something. But if you hear the trumpet or the alarm and you don't do anything and you die, that's your fault. The blood is on your head. It says, on your head, verse 5. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. So he's saying, listen, when you hear something and it got your attention, pay attention. Be attentive. What is this? Oh, what's the alarm for? I guarantee you, if we was all just walking in Walmart and an alarm start going off, everybody would look around and say, what is that? Is that fire alarm? Everybody would be ready to get out of there, right? Well, there's certain things in your life where God will give you an alarm or a trumpet, but we don't pay attention to the sound. Or we hear the sound and figure, we got a little bit more time. We can take our time on this one. And before you know it, you die in that sin. The same way that we just read, verse 6. It says, but if the watchman, so that's the person who sees the trouble coming. Hey, look, the enemy is approaching. We're going to ring the alarm. That's how we've been getting to this alarm on the trumpet, because of the watchman. But here it says, but if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. Now, when you are in leadership position, what were some of these names we said? Pastor, prophet, deacon, bishop, shepherd, master, teacher. Sound like there was another. When you in any of those type of positions where you are leading people and you see trouble coming to someone and you don't say anything, you can't worry about how they going to take it or receive it. You can't worry about what their response is going to be, because even Paul said, what, you hate me because I tell you the truth? What this is telling you is, if you see the warning coming and you don't sound the trumpet, you don't raise the awareness for the person, then when that person dies or is taken away in their iniquity or in their sin, it's not good to die in sin, is it? So when that person is taken away in their iniquity, their blood, it says, is he going to require at the watchman's hand? This is why accountability is important. This is why we have to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do as people in leadership position. And don't get me wrong, I'm naming titles. There's probably more people in leadership position that don't have a title than it is people with titles. You being in a leadership position, let's break this down real quick. So that's not based on your title or the role you're playing. That's based on the knowledge that's been bestowed upon you from the Most High and the opportunity that you have to bless others with it. So once again, if somebody's walking by and you see, hey, look, you're walking right in the road. You got your phone up. You're not paying attention. I don't care. I'll let a car come by and hit you. That is on your hands. So imagine how much more this counts when you're talking about sin in a person's spirit. You're trying to save even if you can't save their life or their soul, you can still save their spirit from damnation. So what he's saying is teach. If he gave it to, I don't care if he gave you one thing, that is your one thing to get out there. He may know so many people that he's going to run by you to get their opportunity for that one thing. You taking accountability is not based on them receiving it. It's based on you giving it. All right, let's get Luke 16 and 10. Luke 16 and Luke chapter 16 and verse 10. All right. Let me see. All right. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. So he's telling you, if I give you a little bit and you be faithful, I know you'll be faithful with a lot. But if I just give you a little bit, and you wouldn't even be faithful with a little bit, I know you're not going to be faithful with a lot. Why would I give you a lot if you can't handle a little bit? Okay. If you had your favorite shoes, they cost a lot of money. And somebody said, let me borrow. And you said, wait a minute. I just gave you my shoes I didn't care about. That was the cheap ones. And you lost them. Would you give them now your favorite pair of shoes? You would be like, nah, I still didn't even get back the basic stuff, right? Now you're asking for something major. Now think about it if it was just money. Hey, can I borrow $5? You give them $5. You never hear from them again. Don't get it back. Next thing you know, you hear from them and they handle like they don't even know you the money. They handle like they forgot about it. All to the point that all of a sudden they say, hey, can I borrow $500 this time? You would be like, wait a minute. I gave you $5. You couldn't pay back $5. Why would I expect you to pay back $500? Makes sense, right? So we ask the Most High all the time. We ask God for stuff. But we sometimes don't realize, because we're not taking accountability of self, we don't realize a lot of times we are way in over our head and we're asking for stuff that we can't handle. We're asking for stuff that we definitely don't deserve. And people would tell you to go and do that, but we just read to you why you're not getting it. Because you wasn't faithful with a little bit. God, can I please? I need a new car. Please bless me with a new car. Yeah, Satan might bless you with a new car. But when you go to God, he's going to look at, okay, what about this car I gave you? The first one. How much appreciation did you have in it? How much did you take care of it? So now you expecting for me to give you more. Now imagine, we're talking about physical things that mean nothing, right? Money and cars and stuff. Imagine if we're talking about spiritual things. God, I want some wisdom. I want knowledge. I want understanding. I want the ability to heal. I want to be able to do these things. And God is looking at you like, well, I gave you some basic 10 commandments and you won't even teach that. So why would I give you some deep understanding? Why would I bless you with the ability to heal when you walk around angry and upset and mad all the time with people? You ain't going to help them. You're going to have the ability to heal and walk past them and be like, you know what, you deserve that. As if you're a God to give out what people deserve or not. This is why having accountability matters, because you got to be able to take care of the small so that you can get to the big. Verse 11 said, if therefore you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? So who's going to give you anything when you couldn't handle anything? You couldn't handle the smallest. So why would somebody give you their all? You can even look at it like that in a relationship, friendship. Hey, listen, if we just getting to know each other and you treating me bad, You think I want to be best friends with you? It works with everything. Let's continue though. Let's get Proverbs 25 and 19. Proverbs 25 and 19. Yeah. Oh, this last one, eh? Look at that. I ain't never had no lesson this short happen. I know it probably never happen again. Well, just no time soon. Proverbs 25 and 19. It says, confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Let's look at that. First of all, you should be filled with faith over confidence. Not saying confidence is bad, but faith is blind, right? You know, what does it say? Faith is the substance of things, hope for the evidence of things not seen. If you can't see it, that's why people came up with the term blind faith, right? So what is confidence? Confidence is almost the opposite of faith to a degree. I say to a degree because the difference is you can see it. You believe it because you can see it, whether it's in yourself or someone else. Like, man, I really feel like this person, like the big fight is coming up. Everybody talking about it. I'm going to watch it too. Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford. I got confidence in Earl Spence. I seen something, made me feel like he's going to win, right? That's confidence because I'm going off what I've seen. If I've never seen any of these guys box, that would be, how can I have confidence? So confidence is based on what you see usually. Faith is not. But it's telling you that if you put confidence in an unfaithful man, meaning somebody that's not loyal to the game, somebody that's not consistent, they're not faithful to it, but you put confidence in them, then in your time of trouble, it's going to be just like a broken tooth or a foot out of joint. If your foot was out of joint, you know how much trouble you would have walking? You know how much pain you would be in? This is how it happens. We don't have accountability for ourselves or others, and others don't have the accountability for themselves. But we still put the confidence in someone who's shown us they are not consistent. They are not accountable. They are not reliable. But if you still put your trust and your confidence in them, it'll be just like what it says, a foot out of joint. You can't go nowhere with that. A broken tooth, it's going to be hard to eat. And certain things you ain't going to want to try to chew because you're going to feel like, well, what if it break off the rest of the tooth? What if you get a lot of what ifs, right? What ifs is based off uncertainty, unsurety. And that's based off of unfaithful. If I'm consistent, you don't have to worry about the what ifs. You ain't going to be asking all these questions. You're going to say, I know he can do it. He's consistent. This is what he does. This person, I don't know. They're not really that consistent. They're not really that faithful. I'm not going to put my confidence in them. But this all goes back once again to what the lesson is about. Accountability. Because if I can't be reliable and dependable, and when I make mistakes, if I can't own it, then I can't be accountable, which means I'm no longer of any use to the Most High. Because what position or what situation is he going to put me in when he can't trust that I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do? We're talking about putting confidence in an unfaithful man. What if that unfaithful man or inconsistent man or unreliable man or man that has no accountability, what if that's us and God trying to put his confidence in us to get the job done? He's not going to do it. So a lot of times, to wrap this up, we wonder why we deal with the things we deal with. We wonder why we go through certain things, why things are not happening in our life. And this is a big reason. We have to learn to take accountability. Accountability is actually going to produce better results because you're going to say, I messed up here. I was wrong here. I see my mistakes now. I know how to fix it. So swallow your pride and take the accountability. Now this makes me want to go into a whole nother lesson for next week. which I might do on afflicting yourself. Because when you take accountability and you self-reflect, you'll find things that you need to clean up and fix. And if you afflict yourself and put yourself through that, then God doesn't have to. That's next week, though. We'll see. But for this week, that's the lesson. Accountability. Hope somebody got something from this. Like, share, subscribe, comment. That's a lot to say, but do all of that. Peace and blessings. That's it. All right, we out.